A new bill called the South Carolina Smart Heart Bill would require schools to have a cardiac emergency response plan and a telecommunicator CPR training for 911 dispatcher. That means you can explain over the phone how to give CPR.
News 19's Shelly Garzone has the story.
The American Heart Association says that a cardiac emergency response plan is similar to that of a fire drill. School officials will establish specific steps that they will follow in case a student, teacher, or faculty member goes into cardiac arrest. They hope these steps will reduce death from cardiac arrest in school settings.
When someone has a cardiac arrest, every moment counts, and up to 90% of those events end up being fatal.
Andrew Wylam is the South Carolina Government Relations Director at the American Heart Association.
The response plan is a plan that the school is going to put in place to make sure they know who is going to be responsible in the case of an emergency. It makes sure their AEDs are in an accessible location and maintained, and it makes sure we know who's going to call EMS.
The South Carolina Smart Heart Act will also establish telecommunicator CPR training for 911 dispatchers.
Sometimes it could take a while for EMS to get there, so our TCPR training law would require the telecommunicators to receive training on how to instruct the caller and how to start CPR immediately.
South Carolina schools are only required to have one AED or automated external defibrillator on campus. The law also doesn't require these to be accessible at sporting venues. AEDs are used to help reestablish a heartbeat in sudden cases of cardiac arrest. South Carolina Representative Brian Lawson introduced the bill.
Right now, they're not required to have a plan, so if this event happens, a lot of times the coaches and folks on the field, other players don't know what to do. All they do is go call 911, but it's very important in any cardiac arrest, especially a witness cardiac arrest, to have that defibrillator there and get it attached quickly and let it do its job.
Wylam says having access to AEDs can increase survival rates up to 70%.
We want to make sure that we are empowering America to become a nation of lifesavers so that bystanders or anyone who witnesses a cardiac arrest is empowered to take action to save someone's life. And that's what our goal is with these policies.
Shelly Garzone, News 19, WLTX.
Well, the Smart Heart Act will also require all high school coaches to receive and maintain the proper CPR, AED, and first aid training. Now, AED is short for Automated External Defibrillator. It's a device mainly used to help those going into cardiac arrest. And the American Red Cross says AEDs are easy to use, but anybody using them should have training, like we just said, before you use them. Now, the Red Cross says an AED is the only way to restore a regular heart rhythm when someone's experiencing cardiac arrest. The organization adds cardiac arrests are one of the leading causes of death in our country. The Red Cross says more than 350,000 people have cardiac arrests every year. AEDs help cardiac arrest victims recover through an electric shot to the heart.
Within the last year, we've seen two examples of how an AED can save a young life. Damar Hamlin and LeBron James' oldest son, Bronny James, are two athletes who went into cardiac arrest while playing their respective sports. Hamlin, 24 years old, and James was 18 at the time of his medical emergency. Both have since returned to the playing field because an AED was used to save their lives.